will be published today, you talk about the risks and you highlight sort of a number of very serious risks.
So we had an agreement with India and Japan quite easily. It was a bit harder with China.
Slightly tangential question. You're going to be heading to China, I believe, later this month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about countries around the world? I just sort of wonder, within the context of the difficulties in the banking system, whether you see any additional challenges.
So again, the government has to work with all the stakeholders and make sure that the program is implemented, reforms are implemented, so that progress can be made in reducing debt to sustainable levels. It's important that this is a very ambitious program. It's clearly very ambitious, and implementation will be key. The one factor here is that there is broad recognition across the political spectrum of the need for reforms, given the situation in economic situation in Sri Lanka. So that gives us belief that that there will be progress made on these reforms, and the government will deliver on the remaining reforms. But as part, Sri Lanka will be the first country in Asia where the IMF will do a deep diagnostics on corruption and governance. And the report will come out in September, which will provide a roadmap for what needs to be done in terms of improving governance and reducing corruption. It'll give you a roadmap, good engagement, all of them. I think there's recognition that these are difficult times, reforms are needed. The question is, how do you apportion the burden, right? So the burden sharing becomes important. I think when you talk about, say, things like personal income tax reform, right? This is a reform where the government is embarking on a reform which is very progressive. So the rich and the wealthy will be paying more. So if they don't pay more, who will pay? That's a question you have to ask yourself. And the program also has inbuilt social safety protection for the poor and vulnerable. In fact, one part of the program which you shouldn't miss is the fact that we have a floor on how much the government should spend on social safety nets. The program is based on bringing inflation down quite sharply. Why is that? Because inflation is the worst tax on the poor. Right? So this program is a disinflation, there's an aspect of disinflation which is very important. So there are aspects of the program which are clearly targeted towards improving the condition of the poor and the vulnerable. But given the situation in terms of the debt and the need for fiscal consolidation, the rich and the wealthy have to pay more, and that's par for the course. So you're right that India and Paris Club provided assurances before China. China provided one set of assurances which for us weren't sufficiently specific and credible. So we had to go back to China, work with them, it's basically the country Sri Lanka had to engage with all the creditors, including China, to make sure that the assurances they provide meet the standards of the IMF, so that's the kind of assurances we expect from all creditors, and which we got. And there is, in China, you have more than one institution which deals with debt. So there is a coordination issue there within China, so that takes longer. So we got that, and so now we've gotten financing assurance from all major creditors, and that paves the way for the debt treatment. So the next step is for Sri Lanka to engage with its official creditors and reach agreement on the debt.